Have you ever noticed that when you step back, you give the people around you a chance to truly think about what they want? It's not about playing games or manipulating someone into missing you. It's about creating the space for clarity to emerge. And in particular, often need this space not because they don't care, but because processing their emotions and intentions sometimes requires solitude. They need time to reflect on what they feel and why they feel it. When we're constantly in someone's space, we might unintentionally make it harder for them to see things clearly. It's human nature. When something is always right in front of us, we can take it for granted or fail to notice its depth and importance. Stepping back isn't about withholding yourself to punish anyone. It's about giving the person the room to evaluate their own feelings without external pressure. Think about it like this. If someone is overwhelmed or unsure, stepping closer and pushing for answers will often make them retreat further. They might feel smothered or pressured to say something they aren't ready to articulate. But when you give them space, you're showing that you trust them to come to their conclusions. That trust speaks volumes. It says, I value myself enough to step back and let you figure out what you truly feel. And here's the beautiful thing. When a man has the time and space to think about what he truly wants, it often becomes clear that your presence in his life is a blessing. Without distractions or immediate proximity, he can reflect on the moments that make your connection special, the way you make him feel seen, the encouragement you bring, and the way you challenge him to be better. These realizations can't happen if there's no room for reflection. It's not always easy to step back, especially when you feel strongly for someone. You might worry that stepping back means he'll drift away or forget about you. But here's the truth. When someone genuinely values you, space won't create distance. It will strengthen the bond. If anything, it gives them the opportunity to choose you freely without being nudged or pulled. And that choice carries so much more meaning because it's genuine. When you step back, you also show confidence in yourself. You're saying, I don't need to chase you to prove my worth. My presence is enough, and it's your choice to see that that quiet confidence often speaks louder than any words or actions ever could. It's a reminder that relationships aren't about clinging to each other. They're about supporting each other while maintaining individuality. In the end, space fosters clarity, and clarity leads to commitment. If he chooses to come forward, it will be with full awareness of what you bring into his life. And if he doesn't, then you've made room for someone who will. That's the power of stepping back. It's not about losing someone. It's about giving them the freedom to find their way to you. Independence is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. It signals strength, self-respect, and an unwavering sense of worth. When you focus on your growth, your passions, and the things that light you up as an individual, you send a powerful message you are whole on your own. This is not just attractive, it's magnetic. For men, seeing someone who doesn't rely on them for their happiness or identity creates a natural pull. It's not about distancing yourself emotionally or being cold. It's about showing that your life has meaning beyond the relationship. When a man sees that you're not solely dependent on him, it takes the pressure off the connection and allows love to flow more freely. Think about it. How do you feel about someone who is constantly available, putting everything aside for you and centering their world around you? At first, it might feel flattering, but over time, it can feel overwhelming, even stifling. People respect and are drawn to those who have their own rhythm, their own purpose, and their own life. It's not because they want to be excluded, but because they want to feel inspired by your strength and individuality. When you step back and focus on building your own life, you challenge him to do the same. You set the standard for what a partnership looks like: two strong individuals coming together, not two people leaning so heavily on each other that they lose their footing. And here's the thing, when you prioritize your independence, it sparks admiration. It shows that you don't need anyone to complete you because you're already whole. That energy is irresistible. It also shifts the dynamic in a powerful way. Instead of chasing, convincing, or proving your worth, you naturally create an atmosphere where he sees your value without needing to be told. Actions speak louder than words, and your independence is a declaration that you are enough as you are. This creates respect, and with respect comes deeper love. Independence doesn't mean closing yourself off. It means showing that you're capable of standing tall on your own while still being open to connection. Men are drawn to that balance. They don't want someone who's waiting on the sidelines for their approval or attention. They want someone who's already thriving and can add to their lives in meaningful ways. When you focus on yourself, something incredible happens. You not only grow as a person, but you also inspire him to grow too. Your independence becomes a mirror, reflecting the kind of strength and purpose he wants to cultivate within himself. That's how partnerships flourish, when both people are continually evolving, pushing each other to be better, and respecting each other's individuality. So don't be afraid to step back and focus on you. Invest in your goals, your dreams, and the things that make your heart race. That independence won't just draw him closer, it will elevate the entire relationship to a place of mutual respect and admiration. When two people come together as their strongest selves, that's when real love thrives. It's amazing how the simplest truths about human connection often carry the most power. One of those truths is this: absence cultivates appreciation. When you step back, you create space for the other person to miss you, to notice what life feels like without your constant presence. It's not about testing anyone or playing hard to get. It's about allowing someone to realize the impact you have on their life naturally and authentically. When you're always available, always there, it can be easy for your value to blend into the background. It's not intentional, but familiarity sometimes dulls awareness. Imagine a beautiful painting hanging on a wall. The first time someone sees it, they marvel at its beauty, its details, and the way it lights up the room. But over time, as they pass it every day, they stop noticing it as much. It's not that the painting has lost its beauty, it's that their attention has shifted. When you step back, it's like taking that painting and placing it in a gallery where its beauty can be truly appreciated again. You give the other person the chance to stop, reflect, and remember the qualities that drew them to you in the first place. They begin to think about the ways you brighten their days, the moments of joy and connection you bring, and the unique qualities that make you irreplaceable. For men, this space can be especially powerful. It gives them time to think about the relationship and process their emotions without distractions. Without your presence, they begin to notice the subtle ways they miss you, the sound of your laugh, the way you encourage them, or even the simple comfort of knowing you're there. That absence creates a longing that deepens their appreciation for you. It's important to understand that stepping back doesn't mean withdrawing love or being cold. It's about creating room for genuine feelings to grow. When a man starts to feel that appreciation, it often leads to a stronger connection, because his desire to be with you is now rooted in awareness and choice, not habit or convenience. I think about it: when someone genuinely misses you, their actions change. They start reaching out more, putting effort, and making it clear that your presence matters to them. That's the power of stepping back. It gives them the opportunity to show you their appreciation and to actively invest in the relationship. This isn't just about romantic relationships. It applies to friendships, family, and even professional dynamics. Sometimes stepping back allows others to see the value of what you bring. It's a reminder that you don't need to overextend yourself to be noticed or appreciated. When you step back, your absence speaks louder than words, and it often leaves an unforgettable impression. So don't hesitate to create space when needed. Trust that your value doesn't diminish in your absence. Instead, it becomes clearer. And when someone chooses to step forward after missing you, that connection becomes even more meaningful, built on a foundation of genuine appreciation. One of the most transformative things you can do in any relationship is set boundaries, not as a way to push people away, but as a way to honor yourself. Boundaries aren't about control, they're about respect. Respect for your time, your emotions, your energy, and your worth. And here's the truth: when you establish boundaries, you teach people how to treat you. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that love or connection means constant availability. But that's not love, that's dependency. Real love, real respect thrives when there are healthy boundaries in place. Boundaries allow a relationship to breathe. They ensure that both people can grow individually while also growing together. For men, boundaries are especially important because they create clarity. When you step back and set limits, You're saying, this is what I need to feel valued, and this is what I expect from you. Without boundaries, it's easy to feel overextended, unappreciated, or even taken for granted. And here's the thing, it's not always intentional. People aren't mind readers. If you don't establish what's acceptable and what's not, they might unintentionally cross lines. But when you communicate your boundaries clearly and enforce them with grace, you create a space where mutual respect can flourish. Boundaries are a form of self-love. They're a way of saying I matter and my needs matter. When a man sees you valuing yourself enough to set boundaries, it sends a powerful message. It shows him that you're not afraid to walk away from anything that doesn't honor your worth. And that confidence is magnetic. It challenges him to rise to the occasion, to meet you where you are, and to respect the space you've created. Setting boundaries also helps eliminate confusion. When you're clear about what you will and won't tolerate, there's no room for mixed signals. It's a way of holding people accountable for their actions and ensuring that they align with what you value. And in doing so, you create a foundation of trust, because boundaries protect both people. They're not about keeping someone out, they're about building something strong. Sometimes setting boundaries requires stepping back and letting someone feel the consequences of their actions. It's not about punishing them, it's about showing them that you take your well-being seriously. If someone truly cares, they'll respect your boundaries and even appreciate them, because boundaries make relationships healthier. They create a space where both people can thrive without one person feeling drained or diminished. And let's be honest, setting boundaries isn't always easy. It can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to putting others before yourself. But the discomfort is worth it, because the result is a relationship rooted in mutual respect and understanding. Over time, you'll find that the people who value you will naturally gravitate toward honoring your boundaries, while those who don't will fade away. And that's a blessing, because it leaves room for what's truly meant for you. So don't shy away from stepping back to set boundaries. It's one of the most loving things you can do for yourself and for the people in your life. When you honor yourself, you create space for others to honor you too. And in that space, love has the room to grow stronger and deeper. When you step back, you create an opportunity for someone to truly pursue you, to invest in the relationship, and to show you they are serious about what you have to offer. Often we find ourselves giving too much of ourselves away, thinking that the more we give, the more we will receive in return. But that's not how meaningful connections are built. What really matters is how much you value yourself, how much you are willing to demand respect for who you are. When you give someone space to pursue you, it forces them to show their level of commitment, their desire, and their willingness to put in the effort to keep you in their life. When you're always there, always available, you remove the need for someone to step up, to think about what you bring to the table, and to show appreciation for the effort you put into the relationship. But when you step back, you force them to recognize what's at stake. It's like when you have a treasure chest, but you don't put any locks on it. People might look at it, but there's nothing stopping them from taking it for granted. When you lock it, though, when you create a boundary, when you step back and don't always make yourself available, suddenly that treasure chest becomes something worth pursuing. The value of it becomes apparent, because now they have to work to earn access to it. This doesn't mean you need to play games or act like you're uninterested. It means giving the other person room to miss you, to think about what your presence means to them, and to feel the weight of losing you, even for a short time. When a man is given the chance to pursue a woman, to chase her and show his intentions through his actions, it brings a new depth to the relationship. It's no longer about just convenience or familiarity, it's about genuine desire. And that desire is what keeps the spark alive. It's important to recognize that stepping back isn't about playing hard to get. It's about allowing someone to see your worth by giving them the space to appreciate it. The more you value yourself and the more you respect your own boundaries, the more that respect will reflect back to you from others. People rise to the occasion when you demand to be treated with the same level of care and attention you offer to them. When you create that space, you're not only teaching someone how to love you, you're teaching them how to value you. And that's a lesson that will pay dividends in the long term. It will cultivate deeper, more intentional connections and create a space for love to be nurtured. But if you don't step back, if you're always in the picture, if you don't allow room for reflection, you might find that the connection becomes stagnant or one-sided. So stepping back is not an act of detachment. It's an act of self-preservation and self-respect. It's about allowing someone to come to you, to show you their investment, and to demonstrate that they understand the worth of having you in their life. When they choose to pursue you after having the space to reflect, you'll know that their feelings are real, their commitment is sincere, and their actions will speak louder than words ever could. It's not about pushing someone away or creating distance for the sake of distance. It's about creating an opportunity for them to truly see you. When they choose to move closer to you after stepping back, it's a powerful affirmation that your worth was never in question. It was just waiting to be recognized. One of the most profound things you can do when someone is pushing against your boundaries or not meeting your needs is to give them the opportunity to reflect on their own actions. When you step back, you create a space where both parties can see things from a different perspective. It's often in that space of silence, of not constantly reacting or chasing, that clarity comes. It's in that moment where someone realizes what they stand to lose, and it forces them to consider their own role in the relationship. Sometimes when we're too involved, too eager to keep the peace or maintain the connection, we don't give the other person the time to think about their own behavior. We might feel like we need to explain ourselves over and over again, to defend our feelings or justify our actions. But the truth is, the more we explain, the less someone has to reflect on what they've done. If we're always reacting to every slight or every emotional wound, it doesn't give the person the room to process and understand what's truly at stake. But when you step back, you take away the emotional clutter. You give them the space to step into their own emotions, to recognize how their actions affect you. It's in that space of absence that they are forced to confront what they've done. It's not about you pushing them to see it. It's about letting them come to that realization on their own. This doesn't mean you need to stay silent forever or avoid confrontation altogether. It means you allow them the room to grow, to reflect, and to come to the conclusion that the relationship, your presence, and your love are worth the effort. Stepping back isn't about creating permanent distance, but about encouraging someone to step forward with greater respect and understanding. When you constantly give without stepping back, you might be robbing the other person of the chance to really evaluate what they have in front of them. Sometimes it takes a pause for them to recognize how much you mean to them, how much you contribute to their life, and how much they have to lose if they don't step up. In this space, the other person isn't just thinking about the relationship, they're thinking about themselves too. They begin to assess what they truly want, how their actions align with their desires, and whether they're willing to put in the effort. Stepping back allows them to reflect on their own actions without pressure, to see the situation for what it is, and to decide whether they're willing to change or grow to meet you where you are. And it's in that reflection that they can grow as a person. It's easy to get lost in the hustle of everyday life, to take things for granted, or to let the connection slide into a routine. But when there's a shift in the dynamic, when someone sees you stepping back, it forces them to face the reality that things can't just stay the same. It's not just about you, it's about the relationship and the growth both people need to experience to keep moving forward. So stepping back isn't just about giving them space, it's about giving them the opportunity to rise to the occasion. It's about giving them the space to grow as well. You're not abandoning the relationship, you're giving it a chance to breathe, to evolve, and to transform into something even stronger. You're showing that you value the connection enough to let it grow, not through pressure, but through patience and mutual understanding. And when they do come back to you, when they've had time to reflect and come to their own conclusions, you'll know that they've done the internal work. They won't just be coming back because they missed you, they'll be coming back because they've realized your worth, understood your boundaries, and are ready to meet you where you are. And that's the moment where the relationship can truly flourish. Because in stepping back, you've allowed the space for growth, clarity, and mutual respect to take root. When you step back, you are also giving yourself the space to reflect and understand what you truly need in a relationship. Often, in the midst of emotional turbulence, or when we're too focused on someone else's actions, we lose sight of our own needs and desires. But by creating distance, by stepping back, we allow ourselves the opportunity to evaluate not just the other person, but the relationship itself. This space gives you time to reconnect with your own sense of self, to remember your worth, and to reaffirm the standards you want in your life. It's easy to lose ourselves when we are constantly giving, constantly trying to make someone else feel loved and valued. But the truth is, love begins with you. If you cannot love yourself fully and understand your own worth, how can you expect someone else to do the same? When you step back, it forces you to stop chasing or needing validation from the other person. You take a moment to pause and ask yourself, what do I want out of this relationship? Am I truly being valued for who I am? Is this connection bringing me joy, growth, and fulfillment, or am I just filling a void? These are the kinds of questions that can only arise when you create a moment of space. Without this pause, you may continue giving in a way that leaves you depleted, all while you ignore your own needs in favor of someone else's. This reflection period is also essential in rediscovering what makes you happy outside of the relationship. Relationships are important, but they should not be the sole source of your happiness. By stepping back, you allow yourself the chance to invest in other areas of your life, your career, your passions, your friends, your personal growth. These things matter, and they feed into the energy you bring to any relationship. When you step back, you give yourself permission to thrive outside of the emotional needs of the other person. Stepping back doesn't mean you're giving up. It doesn't mean you're walking away from something that matters to you. It means you are choosing to honor your own journey, your own growth, and your own happiness. It's about creating balance and making sure that you are not losing yourself in the process. Because in the end, you are the foundation of the relationship. If you aren't taking care of yourself, how can you offer the best of you to anyone else? This also provides clarity about what's really important to you and a partner. When you take a step back, you create room for the other person to step up. And in this space, you begin to see if they are willing to do the work, if they are ready to value you in the way you deserve. Are they taking the time to understand your needs? Are they putting in the effort to show you they want to build something meaningful with you? If they are, great. But if they aren't, this is when you can truly assess if this relationship aligns with your own goals, desires, and values. Stepping back is ultimately about giving yourself the respect you deserve. It's about setting boundaries that not only protect your emotional well-being, but also give the other person the opportunity to step up to the plate and show that they care. In this space, you are not just waiting for someone to change or improve. You are choosing to take care of yourself, to love yourself first, and to remind yourself that you are worthy of the kind of love that is reciprocated and nourishing. And when you come back together when the time is right, you will know that you have both done the work individually and together. The relationship will no longer be about needing each other, but about choosing each other, supporting each other, and growing together in a way that is balanced and healthy. Stepping back doesn't make the relationship weaker, it strengthens it by giving both people the space to evolve, learn, and come back as the best versions of themselves. In the end, stepping back is not a sign of weakness, it's a powerful declaration that you are worthy of being loved with respect, authenticity, and intention. It allows you to reframe the relationship, to come back stronger, and to set the foundation for a partnership built on mutual respect, growth, and love. When you step back in a relationship, you give the other person the space to miss you. In a world where we are always connected, where we constantly share our thoughts and emotions, it's easy to take someone's presence for granted. We think that constant communication and proximity will deepen the connection, but in reality, too much closeness can sometimes breed complacency. It's like when you're always around someone, they might start to expect your presence without truly appreciating it. But when you create distance, when you step back, you give the relationship a chance to breathe. You give them a chance to feel what it's like without you there. This absence can stir something deep within the other person. They start to realize what your absence really means to them. They begin to see how much they actually value your presence, your energy, and your influence in their life. The space you create allows them to reflect on how your love, your attention, and your companionship enrich their existence. Often, people don't truly understand the depth of what they have until it's no longer immediately available to them. Stepping back doesn't just mean physical space, it's about emotional space as well. When you stop giving everything away so freely, when you stop being emotionally available at all times, it forces the other person to step up. It makes them realize that you won't always be there to fix things, to ease their discomfort, or to smooth over conflicts. They begin to understand that a relationship takes effort, and that effort must come from both sides, not just one. This realization can spark something within them, a desire to meet you halfway, to prove that they want to be a better partner, to show that they can offer something of equal value to the relationship. And here's where the magic happens when they begin to miss you. They start to see you in a new light. Absence creates appreciation. The space you've allowed them to have gives them the room to realize your worth in a way they never did before. They start to miss the little things, the way you laugh, the way you care, the way you light up a room just by being there. And as they miss these things, they start to reflect on their own actions. They begin to recognize where they might have taken you for granted, where they might not have been giving as much as they should have been. This doesn't mean you are playing games or manipulating someone's emotions. It's not about making them chase you for the sake of it. It's about creating a healthy dynamic where both people feel valued, where both sides are contributing and growing. When you step back, you're not doing it to punish the other person. You're doing it to give them the opportunity to realize just how much they need you, just how much they depend on you. And when they come back to you, when they truly see what they've been missing, something beautiful happens. They come back with a renewed sense of respect, with a deeper understanding of what you bring to the table, and with a renewed commitment to the relationship. This renewed sense of appreciation can help reestablish the emotional balance and harmony that might have been lost. You're not just giving them space to miss you, you're allowing them to grow emotionally and personally. You're allowing them to see that relationships are not just about convenience, but about effort, appreciation, and respect. And when they return with a deeper commitment to not take you for granted again. They come back with the intention to make things better, to love you in a way that is more meaningful, more thoughtful, and more aware of what you truly bring to their life. In the end, stepping back can lead to a more balanced, healthy, and fulfilling relationship. You've created space for both of you to reflect, to grow, and to recognize the depth of what you have together. By stepping back, you've allowed the relationship to evolve, to become something even stronger than before. When you step back in a relationship, you're not just creating space for the other person to grow or to miss you. You're also giving yourself permission to truly evaluate the situation. It's easy to get caught up in the emotional whirlwind of a relationship, to become so deeply invested that you lose sight of the bigger picture. But by stepping back, you create the necessary distance to take a more objective look at what's really happening between you and your partner. This pause allows you to clear the emotional fog and start asking yourself the hard questions that often get buried in the chaos of everyday life. Are you really getting what you need from this relationship? Are you both putting in the effort equally? Are you respecting each other's boundaries? Or are you simply trying to hold on to something that isn't serving you anymore? These are the types of questions that are difficult to address when you're too close, when you're too immersed in the day-to-day emotions of the relationship. By stepping back, you give yourself the clarity to answer these questions with honesty. You remove yourself from the emotional attachment long enough to see things as they truly are, not as you want them to be. This clarity is crucial for making decisions about the future of your relationship. Sometimes it's easy to stay in a relationship because you're afraid of being alone or because you've invested so much time and energy into it. But when you step back, you give yourself the space to acknowledge whether this relationship is truly healthy for you and whether it's moving in the direction that aligns with your values, goals, and overall happiness. Stepping back also helps you reconnect with your own desires and needs, separate from the influence of your partner. In a relationship, it's easy to start prioritizing the needs and desires of the other person, sometimes to the detriment of your own. But when you create some distance, you're able to reestablish what you truly want out of life and love. You remind yourself of your individual goals, passions, and the things that bring you joy. In this space, you remember who you are outside of the relationship, which is essential for maintaining a healthy sense of self. Furthermore, this time apart gives you the opportunity to reflect on your own role in the relationship. Are you bringing your best self to the table? Are you contributing in ways that foster growth, respect, and love? Stepping back allows you to take accountability for your actions and your behavior. It's easy to blame the other person for the problems in the relationship, but this break gives you the opportunity to look inward and ask, what can I do to improve? How can I show up as a better partner? And this doesn't just apply to the relationship itself. Stepping back is an opportunity for personal growth. It gives you the space to focus on your own well-being, your personal goals, and your own emotional healing. We often get so wrapped up in our partner's emotions, needs, and issues that we neglect our own. By stepping back, you're able to recalibrate, focus on self-care, and reconnect with your own happiness. This is crucial because a healthy, thriving relationship is built on two individuals who are whole and complete on their own. Stepping back also allows you to make more informed, conscious decisions. Sometimes we make decisions in relationships out of impulse, fear, or desperation. We act quickly because we don't want to face the uncertainty or the discomfort that comes with being alone. But by taking a step back, you allow yourself the time and space to reflect before you make any big decisions. Whether it's deciding to move forward in the relationship or deciding that it's time to part ways, you can make that decision from a place of clarity and self-respect. Ultimately, stepping back is a form of self-preservation. It's about creating the necessary distance to protect your emotional well-being and ensure that you are prioritizing your own needs. It's about understanding that you don't have to lose yourself in a relationship in order to make it work. By taking this space, you give yourself the gift of clarity, peace, and the ability to make decisions that align with your highest good. When you return to the relationship, you come back with a renewed sense of purpose, a deeper understanding of your needs, and a stronger foundation for moving forward. Stepping back in a relationship isn't just about creating space for the other person, it's about respecting the natural rhythm of in relationships. Sometimes when you're too close to someone, it's easy to overlook the importance of giving them room to breathe, to process, and to grow. It's crucial to understand that love is not a constant, overwhelming force that requires constant attention. Love, like anything else, needs its moments of space to flourish. When we're in love or in a relationship, we often feel the urge to constantly nurture, to be there for the other person at every moment, to fix their problems, or to constantly show affection. While these actions come from a place of care and love, they can sometimes overwhelm the other person. In this overzealous effort to show how much we care, we might inadvertently stifle the growth of the relationship, or worse, make our partner feel trapped or suffocated. This is why stepping back, creating space, and allowing the relationship to breathe is vital. By stepping back, you're acknowledging that both you and your partner need time to reflect, to think, and to process your emotions. It's not about creating distance out of anger or frustration, but rather out of respect for each other's emotional and mental space. This break allows each individual to reconnect with themselves, with their own thoughts, dreams, and needs. When you step back, you give each other the chance to see what the relationship truly means without being overwhelmed by the constant need to be connected. It's easy to get lost in the whirlwind of everyday life and lose sight of the importance of self-reflection. We often put our partner's needs, desires, and feelings above our own, and in doing so, we forget to check in with ourselves. By stepping back, you not only create space for your partner to miss you, but you also give yourself the time to reconnect with your own goals and personal growth. You can focus on your passions, your dreams, and your new needs without the constant interference of another person's emotions. Taking a step back also allows both partners to see the relationship from a different perspective. When you're too involved, you may not recognize the dynamics at play, the unhealthy patterns, or the areas where change is needed. But when you take a step back, you're able to evaluate things more objectively. You see the strengths and weaknesses in the relationship, and you can better assess what works and what doesn't. This time apart helps you both step out of emotional intensity and get a clearer picture of the relationship's true nature. Moreover, stepping back helps both individuals understand what they're truly looking for in love. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of being in a relationship and the emotional highs and lows that come with it. But stepping back provides a chance to reflect on whether this person is the one who truly aligns with your life's vision, values, and goals. Are they someone who contributes positively to your growth? Do they support your dreams or do they hold you back? This space gives you time to answer these questions honestly. This space is also important because it gives your partner a chance to grow on their own without constantly relying on you for validation, support, or direction. We all need room to evolve, to figure out who we are without the influence of someone else. By stepping back, you're allowing your partner the opportunity to be themselves fully without the pressure of living up to your expectations. In doing so, you give them the space to show you who they really are, which can either strengthen the bond or clarify whether this relationship is truly the right fit. Taking a break is also important in helping you both avoid codependency. When two people are overly dependent on each other for their happiness, validation, or sense of purpose, it creates an unhealthy dynamic. But by stepping back, you allow each person to maintain their independence and their sense of self. You can still love and support each other, but you do so from a place of balance, where each person knows that their happiness isn't reliant on the other. It's crucial to remember that stepping back isn't about giving up or throwing in the towel. It's about stepping away from the constant noise and chaos in order to come back stronger, clearer, and more intentional. It's about allowing both individuals the freedom to grow independently so that they can come back together as better versions of themselves. Ultimately, stepping back is an act of self-respect, love, and wisdom. It's understanding that in order to truly love someone, you need to first love yourself. You need to give yourself the room to grow, to reflect, and to become the best version of yourself. And in doing so, you'll be in a much stronger position to love and support the other person in a way that's healthy, balanced, and sustainable. When you return from that space, you'll do so with a clearer heart, a stronger sense of self, and a deeper appreciation for what you both bring to the relationship. The time apart doesn't weaken the bond. Rather, it strengthens it, allowing it to grow in ways that wouldn't have been possible if you hadn't allowed each other the freedom to breathe. This space, this time apart, is essential for long-lasting, meaningful love. It's not a sign of weakness or distance. It's a sign of maturity, respect, and the desire to build something truly lasting.